Well, this is very much a introduction to the endocrine system map, and thank you for joining me this evening. And this is our first attempt at screen sharing. And thank you for your patience as we get Bellarmine Educational Systems up and running first and foremost. And it's good for you to have an overview of the brain and how it plays a role in the communication system with our body's hormones, okay? And just this is important as you learn about the medications you're going to take, about stress and hormone response. I don't expect you to remember and understand everything, but I do want you to understand that the signaling does start up in your brain, okay? And it is a very complex system. You know, we have a couple of different accesses that stem from the brain, and it's literally referred to as the human neuroendocrine system. I'm not going to read these word by word, but we do have three accesses. We have the HPA axis, which is the brain talking to the adrenal glands and our stress system, and the adrenal glands are located on top of our kidneys, and they highly affect our thyroid and our sex hormones, our testosterone and our estrogens, and all of this is very interrelated because it's all a big feedback loop. So remember that too. And then we have the HPT axis, which is from the brain to the thyroid gland, which is located in the neck. Okay, so from the brain, which is the hypothalamus, pituitary, to the thyroid. And then we have the brain to the HPG, which is our reproduction, and our anabolic steroid, which is the pituitary, to the ovaries and the testes. Okay, so remember, crosstalk is constant. The cortisol alters our thyroid. The thyroid can alter our sex-binding globulin hormones, and those sex steroids affect the feedback loop to the brain. So all of it is a feedback loop to the brain from the cortisol and the adrenal glands and the sex hormones from the testes and the ovaries all circulate back to the brain, okay? That's long story short. What you need to remember is it's a big feedback loop. If you look here at the neuroendocrine system, you've got the brain up here, you've got the adrenal glands, was about midway right here, and then the sex hormones located lower. The control tower concept, I will read this here for you. The hypothalamus and pituitary function as the body's endocrine control tower, receiving neuro input from higher brain centers and translating this information into precise hormone signals. This centralized command system ensures coordinated responses across all three axes. Key clinical considerations: chronic stress disrupts all three axes simultaneously. And we are going to drive that home all day, every day, okay? Thyroid dysfunction can mask or mimic adrenal insufficiency. Reproductive hormones influence stress resilience and metabolic rate. Circadian rhythms coordinate access timing and hormone pulsatility. Why is this important? Because circadian rhythms is our sleep-wake cycle, and it's in direct correlation to our hormone pulsatility, okay, because our hormones send out pulse-like signals from the brain, and when our circadian rhythms are not in alignment for our sleep-wake cycles all throughout the day, it's going to disrupt our hormones. This is key, okay? When we are trying to optimize our hormones, this comes back to this foundation. This is why I wanted to emphasize this. Understanding these interconnections is crucial to diagnostic accuracy and therapeutic success in endocrine disorders. This is why we are always going to emphasize sleep and stress as foundational, and as much as we can mentor you and coach you on your side, on this side, ultimately it is going to be your responsibility for transformation, for sleep and stress, for your hormone optimization, okay? So remember that, circadian timing, rhythmic hormone release patterns. And then here we have some beautiful maps here of our endocrine systemic maps. This is our visual cheat sheet. We're going to look over here all the way far left, HPA axis, our stress and resilience. And you can see that here. Okay, so from the brain to the thyroid to the adrenal cortex, okay? And then if you come over here to the middle, we have the HPT axis, thyroid and metabolism. So again, the brain to the thyroid, and you come down here to the hub in the middle, and you can see where there's the conversion of the TSH to the T3 and the T4. And now, if you come all the way over to the right, HPG axis, you have the brain and now sending directions over to the ovaries and the testes, also to the thyroid. It's all interrelated, very interrelated, okay? And again, emphasizing how our circadian rhythms and our sleep-wake cycles affect all of this, okay? Now, we're going to wrap up this little section here. We're going to see how our screen share saved and see if we'll be plugging this in. All right, hopefully this saved correctly so we can plug it into our lesson plans. Ciao.